Well, first of all, thank you very much, Brigadier Khan, for making time during SOUTHDEC to speak to us to Diálogo. Welcome once again. The first question will be, Brigadier Khan, you celebrated the first year as the Chief of Staff for the Guyana Defense Force. What have been your greatest challenges and accomplishments?
First of all, Luis, thank you for your time too, and for this interview. Just a year ago, I had an interview with your colleague, Ms. Cook, and I would have gone through some of the things about my plans for the Guyana Defense Force. And I have to say, since then, it has been a remarkable and interesting journey. We have done quite a lot, but of course, there are a lot of areas still to be addressed. So far, I'm happy with the pace of how things are unfolding. As for my greatest challenge, I was able to articulate our country and the borders that we share with three of our neighbors, Venezuela, Brazil, and Suriname. That remains a challenge for us to effectively monitor our borders. But having said that, I believe Guyana, as an oil-producing nation, brings on additional challenges, but also opportunities. It's shaping the force now and preparing it to protect and addressing issues that will unfold in that kind of environment. That's an oil-producing nation. I have a wonderful team back at my headquarters, and we are working on several projects that will see the force transforming, first of all, the mindset of preparing the Defense Force for the future. We continue to subscribe for our region to be peaceful, stable, and for us to have network with our strategic partners. Like this conference, SOUTHDEC, that I'm here attending, will continue to foster our relationship with my other colleagues in the various countries in this region.
Thank you, Brigadier Khan. The Guyanese government allotted funds for the Guyana Defense Force in its budget for 2024 for increased investments in both material and humanitarian resources. What are some of the key focus areas?
I would say my Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, has a vision, a national vision for the country in its developmental trajectory. In that framework of developing the country, there is also a key component, defense and security. So understanding how development unfolds and what is required to create the environment for that development to go in the direction is important. So I'm equally happy under his leadership that defense and security is taking a significant role. Our budget has increased almost 100%. And of course, that is relative, and we anticipate that this will continue in the same direction. Our human resource capital is an important part, so training has been expanded to cover key areas to help the force develop. It is my view that the acquisition of assets will continue, but acquisition of assets, air, land, and sea, does not mean a capability. You still have to have that human resource to optimize the deployment and use of those resources so that you could have capability per se. So the force's budget increase is fixed towards its human development, training, and infrastructure, and asset acquisition. Okay. I want to say at the end of this, Guyana remains a peaceful nation. We are only procuring the necessary equipment and assets to protect and defend its assets and its resources. I would have had the opportunity to explain, articulate last year about our strategic approach, three-pronged. It's awareness, adaptability, and agility first of all, you have to have that understanding about the environment, what unfolds, what's occurring, what are the challenges and opportunities. So that awareness is important. As a defense force, we need to optimize our awareness. Asset acquisition in that regard has commenced. With respect to adaptability, asset also has been acquired. We've received our first marine vessel from Metal Shark, a U.S. company. We have been working with our U.S. partner, and we have received that ship a few months ago. It has already been deployed to police our exclusive economic zone. So we having those exposure and having our human resource work with the asset to optimize achieve the capability. Additionally, we recently signed on a contract with France for the acquisition of an ocean patrol vessel. And that is on stream, and we continue to work with other partners.
Thank you very much, Brigadier. Just give me one. The Guyana Defense Force and U.S. forces such as Army First Security Force Assistance Brigade, as well as Guyana's partners under the State Partnership Program, the Florida National Guard, have been conducted several engagements to strengthen capabilities at the tactical and operational level. What have been the focus of these engagements, and which has been the most beneficial?
Right. Thank you for that question. I must say on the outset, the United States remain a very important and strategic partner, both at the country level and at the defense and security level. I'm happy that we continue our engagement on multiple fronts. It is not in any way unfamiliar that we have been training for many years with our U.S. counterpart. What we have seen, however, is an increase in those training activities. We have had training over the past year at the tactical level, at the operational level, and also their strategic engagement on how Guyana is poised to becoming, well, already an oil-producing state, and what are the strategic implications. I believe there are many opportunities for us to continue along this path. The U.S. remain a very important strategic partner.
In July 2023, Guyana became 13th nation to join the U.S. Southern Command's Human Rights Initiative, committing to human rights engagement, cooperation, and integration. What advances have been made in this area so far?
I will tell you, Louise, human rights is an important part of who we are. We can be the most potent force, but if your human rights track record does not support your professionalism and what you're meant to do, serve the people, serve your nation, ensure that you create the environment for people to live in prosperity without fear. Those are important tenets. As a defense force, we saw it as a critical component of supporting and in enforcing our human rights. So all our training would have modules of human rights training. Signing on and becoming the 13th nation is a small step in the regional objectives. We're hoping that other countries will sign on so that we can share those same values, training, and to help make our region a better place.
In March, while delivering remarks for the Perry Center Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education, awarded to the University of Guyana, President Irfan Ali said that cybersecurity is becoming a major threat and urged the University of Guyana and the Guyana Defense Force to craft training programs to protect the digital environment. What are some of the advances in cyber defense, and what kind of cooperation agreements do you have with partner nations? If you have.
Right. That's an important part of Defense Force mandate, and I'm happy about the progress made, but of course there are more room for improvement. We are a subset as a defense force to the national efforts that spearhead our cybersecurity strategy. We've continued to work with our partners, again here, the United States, Southern Command, and all the subsidiary forces. We've been able to progress in a direction that I'm satisfied. For Guyana, becoming again an oil-producing nation, ICT, information communication technology, will play a critical role in supporting the services that we are going to embark on. And that will be an important endeavor for us as a defense force to have the necessary preparation, the necessary safeguard, framework, and environment to protect our assets.
Thank you, Brigadier Khan. In keeping with the restructuring of the force, your title, Chief of Staff, will become the Chief of Defense starting next year. What are the big changes is that Guyana Defense Force undergoing?
Well, Luis, I'll tell you, that has already happened. My appointment as Chief of Defense Staff was ratified by the Guyana Defense Board, chaired by the President. So my appointment right now, the official appointment, is Chief of Defense Staff. This is part and parcel of how we are going to transform the force, the responsibility, the additional scope of work. By way of my Defense Act within the legislation, I have operational responsibility for the force. I believe in some aspect that will remain at the core, but we will have some other engagements that will see me having a role in how the force develop for the future.
In late 2023, the Maduro regime performed military exercises along the border with Guyana. What have been the greatest challenge for the Guyana Defense Force in securing its border with Venezuela? And what would be the plan to deal with a possible big wave of migration if their political situation does not find a solution that benefits their citizens?
Venezuela and Venezuelans, they're a beautiful people. There are people like you and I having the aspiration for a better life, for their families, getting a good job, not worrying about what they have to eat for dinner, lunch, having access to education. So they're like us. And I would want to, if you forgive me, digress a bit and tell you that, you know, peace and security is a framework that is supported by an ecosystem. And that ecosystem covers a spectrum of activities, governance, the thing that we talk about just now, human rights, security, and how we operate. And we have several players. Every country got a responsibility to contribute and complement that ecosystem. When one falls off of that, it creates an imbalance in the ecosystem. So we have to work now to ensure that we help Venezuela understand that there are, you know, other things that we can work on. There's so many things that can distract who we are as a people, and we cannot do it alone. So we need everyone to be part and parcel of that. I'm optimistic that even with the challenges that is unfolding in Venezuela, that there are opportunities to make it better. While our focus could be Venezuela, it is not the only focus we have. Our government, my commander-in-chief, has taken a position that is humanitarian in nature. So Venezuelans, migrants moving to other countries, including Guyana, has been accommodated where we can, and what our fiscal space could accommodate. So Venezuela is an important part of that ecosystem. We cannot afford an imbalance in that. And I'm happy that within the South American continent, Venezuela could have the help it needs by all the countries working together. So I'm optimistic.
Thank you for your time, Brigadier Khan, Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force.
Thank you, Louis, and thank you for your time.